Mr. Erdogan's visit to Egypt comes against the background of tensions between Cairo and the Israeli government. But relations between Turkey and Israel are also at a low, as we've been discussing. Earlier this month, Turkey withdrew its ambassador to Israel because it would not apologize officially for an Israeli raid on a Turkish aid ship bound for Gaza, where 9 Turkish activists died. Well, in Jerusalem, we can be joined now by the Israeli government spokesman Mark Regev. Mark Regev, do you accept that 2 key Muslim allies in Middle East, Turkey and Egypt, that you are seeing the mood hardening towards Israel, and what are the implications of that for you?
Well, I think you have to separate between both Turkey and Egypt. Both you have a very special set of relationships. With Egypt, obviously, we had a very difficult weekend. The attack on our embassy was very, very difficult for us. I think the Egyptian government, though, has spoken very clearly that those sort of attacks are unacceptable, and we're looking forward to working with the Egyptian government to restore proper Israeli diplomatic representation in Egypt, and of course to make sure the peace between the 2 countries stays strong.
Does the Israeli government then make a very clear distinction between emotion on the streets of Cairo, for instance, and what the official position is, and that's how you're trying to keep a lid on matters? Is that what you're saying?
Well, obviously governments work with governments. I can only hope that those violent mob on the street that was trying to burn down our embassy and injure our embassy employees, I can only hope that they don't represent 85 million Egyptians. I mean, all of us who are a bit older than 50 remember when Israel and Egypt were at war, and thousands of people of both sides of the frontier were killed in those wars. And I can't see how anyone has an interest in turning the clock back. Surely we all want to see peace between Israel and Egypt flourish.
Mm-hmm. And you heard Jonathan Head there talking about how the Turkish Prime Minister is going to reassure the Arab countries that democracy is good for them. But when you hear sometimes in Israel people talking about how the Arab Spring might become a Muslim winter for Israel, it sounds as though Israelis perhaps are a little bit uncomfortable with the toppling of Arab dictators.
I think we have concerns. I mean, obviously, if the Arab Spring is about democracy and freedom and liberty, we have no problem with that. Our concern has been that extremist groups that are opposed to democracy, opposed to freedom, and frankly opposed to peace with Israel, it's the same groups, will use the opening up of the political system as a vehicle to attain power. And that doesn't help anyone. It doesn't help Israel, but it doesn't help the Arab peoples either to replace one form of dictatorship with another. So we're hopeful that we will see the democratic process strengthen in the Arab world. Ultimately, that has to be good for peace.
And with people talking about Turkey increasingly asserting itself in the Middle East and becoming a bit of a regional leader, is Israel at all concerned about that?
We want to have a good relationship with Turkey. We've historically had an excellent bilateral relationship. Even, you can say, the Jewish people and the Turkish people going back hundreds of years have had a good relationship. We deeply regret the deterioration in the bilateral relationship. We hope it's still possible to prevent a further deterioration and even to turn things around. We are ready, and we hope the Turkish government is too.
Mark Regev in Jerusalem, thank you very much indeed for talking to us. Still to come here on GMT, we can speak to an expert on how London 2012 will combat cases of Olympic doping.